If you think of interest as like a broader framing of culturally relevant or culturally responsive sustaining pedagogies, etc., which I've talked about in several other episodes, not only does interest account for cultures that a lot of people identify in terms of like demographic information, like somebody's race or ethnicity or their gender or their socioeconomic status or their disability status or what their primary language is at home, etc. We can also broaden that understanding to also include like interest in like drumming or in video games or sports or underwater basket weaving. It's this broader interest-driven area that can account for not only different cultures that are identity related, but cultures that are identity related outside of demographics that are often discussed in survey data, etc. I describe myself, one of the reasons, as a multiplicity because I have many identities. Like I said at the start of this podcast, I'm a gamer, I'm a drummer, I'm a computer science educator, and those are just 3 of the labels that I'd like use to describe myself. All of those have different cultures that kind of intersect with each other and diverge from each other in interesting ways, at least in my opinion. And if we focus on interest-driven learning, it can account for not only racial equity issues and allow students to explore that, and hopefully improve the issues that might be impacting them or people they know negatively, or even people they don't know. But it also allows them to explore other things that might be a lighter topic. As I've talked about in other episodes, sometimes students go to a class just to escape some of that. Like, I enjoyed music classes so much because it didn't make me think about all of the injustices that were going on in the world that was literally making me suicidal, which I talk about more in episode 48 titled Depression, Suicide, and Computer Science Education. I highly recommend people listening to that episode. It is the only episode that I repeat every year for National Suicide Prevention Week because I think it is that important for people to be aware of this. But the point is, some students might want to dive into some like social justice issues in computer science class. Great. We should allow them to do that. Other people might not. And from a mental health standpoint, from an SEL standpoint, they might be doing that because they need that mental break from those topics because they're engaging that whether they want to or not because of their lived experiences in their day-to-day lives. Which is why in other episodes I've said we should allow the opportunity and encourage people to explore social justice issues, but not necessarily require it of everybody, especially in instances where it might negatively impact a student's like well-being if they are surrounded by those issues 24/7 and can't escape them. Hopefully that makes sense. But as I've learned by sharing stuff on social media, a lot of what I say gets taken out of context unintentionally. So apologies if I offend anybody. It's not the what I'm going for. I'm just trying to help.